Hello, good evening. This is Terry Allen. It is Thursday night, October 29th, 2020. And this program is called The Radical Progressive because that's what I am. And I'm about as pissed off right now as I've been in a long time. And what I'm going to ask everybody is, where is the outrage with this country? With the media that's going on, with the attack on our First Amendment rights? Where is the outrage? What's going on with this Hunter Biden laptop? There is a really good segment from Joe Rogan that was, I think, probably just yesterday. It's his number 1556, his interview with Glenn Greenwald. Glenn Greenwald, if you don't know, he's the reporter that was able to publish the information that he got from Edward Snowden about the surveillance state, about how the government, the United States government, under the NSA, is monitoring everything. Monitoring your phone calls, monitoring your texts, monitoring your emails, looking at everything, watching everything. And people say, well, I have nothing to fear because I'm not doing anything wrong. How do you know? If you stand up for your principles, like what I'm doing, and Jimmy Dore, and Joe Rogan, and Kyle Kalinske, and all of these really good progressive podcasters and the people that are on YouTube, if you stand up for your principles and expose the criminality that's going on in this government, the American empire is what it is, run by the military-industrial complex and the 1%, by the way, then if you are a whistleblower or you are a journalist, then there's a good chance that you are going to be silenced. Look what's happened. One of the things that Glenn Greenwald mentioned, which I didn't know, is that when Edward Snowden was on the run trying to find a safe haven, he was not planning on going to Russia. He was passing through to get to either Ecuador or some other safe haven country that would allow him to be a dissident and to be able to get immunity and protection. One of the things that Glenn Greenwald also mentioned was that the Brazilian government actually helped protect him while this whole crazy announcement was going on with the exposure of the illegality of what was going on with the NSA. James Clapper even got up in front of Congress and lied and said that the NSA is not knowingly or wittingly monitoring everybody's information, which was a lie. We now know that that was a lie. What is going on in this country is very scary. We have got just a few days before the election, and the stuff coming out about Joe Biden should scare the shit out of you. The corruption, the incredible just disregard for the 95% of the population in this country with the things that he stood for and the things that he's tried to push has been disastrous for this country, for the 95%, but for the rich it's been great, okay? And that's what most of these politicians are for. Same thing with the Republicans. But at least with the Republicans, we know what we get because we already know that's who they're for. But you've got the Democrats, which are wolves in sheep's clothing, because these people have got the deep state and the military-industrial complex and the Wall Street bankers on their side, and that should scare the shit out of you. For Bernie Sanders to talk about how dangerous Donald Trump is. Are you kidding me? Who's dangerous here? The Democratic Party handed off to Donald Trump over $100 billion more for his military budget than he had even asked for. So how dangerous is he really? It's all bullshit. And then this Russia thing that keeps coming up. Hunter Biden's laptop, the expose and all this information and everything is a Russian disinformation plot? Are you serious? And the American people just lay down and believe this crap? I'm just outraged. I don't understand why people are not just screaming at the top of their lungs. The First Amendment right of freedom of speech and the freedom to demand transparency from our government and for our government not to commit war crimes in our name and not to destroy other nations and destroy and kill populations, innocent populations, because of our capitalist railroad that's coming right down the middle, crushing everything in its path. This should scare the shit out of you, what Twitter and Facebook and Google has done about the Washington Post article about Joe Biden, his son's laptop. Fortunately, Tony Bobulinski, I think is his last name, he was one of the businessmen that was hired by the Biden family to run this scam operation. He believed that it was real businesses that they were doing, real business that they were actually doing. But in reality, what they were doing was selling access to their father, the Vice President of the United States at the time. And he did exactly what was expected of him. He rolled over and played dead towards the Chinese for the garbage that's been going on. In Ukraine, he threatened the Ukrainian government and said, you're not going to get $1 billion unless you get rid of this prosecutor that's been looking into the oil and natural gas company that Hunter Biden was on the board of directors. Who knows what he was really making? I don't know, $50,000 a month, $80,000 a month, whatever it was too much. And it was done specifically. Now, I am sure that Trump has some issues with this as well. He is not guiltless. He is corrupt as well. And his family is profiting off of him. But there's a difference. There's a difference here. Trump is not selling out the country. He is not selling out his decisions to do different things based on the businesses that his family are running. That's the difference here. And that is the thing that should scare the shit out of you. So if we get Biden and Harris in, I am beginning to believe that that Trump actually may be the lesser of two evils here. And I don't give a goddamn what people say about me, that, oh, I'm just promoting Trump. I am not. I do not like Trump. I do not like the Republican Party. I've never been a Republican, never would be a Republican. I've been a Democrat all my life. But what the Democratic Party is doing right now is criminal. They have been covering up for war crimes. Obama covered up for George W. Bush and the neocons' war crimes. He covered it up and walked away and said, we're not going to look to the past, we're going to look to the future. And Eric Holder backed off. These people in the Republican government committed war crimes. They lied to get us into a preemptive war with a country that did not attack us and had not anything to do with Al-Qaeda. Which Al-Qaeda, by the way, we actually created. And the Saudi Arabians funded them. And that's been proven in court. So the Democratic Party has been taken over by the 1%, the globalists, the deep state, this is a dangerous precedent. And whatever you think about Trump, he's the worst businessman ever. But there's a couple of things that he's done correctly. And one of the things is he's been backing off on these wars. He's been trying to get out of them. And he said that the military-industrial complex is crying to Congress to block it, to make sure that we keep troops in and escalate, actually. Biden is going to escalate. He's already said he's going to escalate. That is dangerous, more dangerous than Trump. I have been struggling for a long time about who is the lesser of two evils here. And I think I finally, listening to Joe Rogan with his interview with Glenn Greenwald, I believe that Trump may be the lesser of two evils here. And I know there's going to be people that are going to be very pissed at me. But I don't have a huge audience. But I have a voice. And while this voice is, while I am still alive, I am going to speak my mind and try to give you the truth that I know it and the way I see it from the history of what all these idiots have been doing. Joe Biden is a disaster. Kamala Harris is a disaster. That's who we're going to end up as president very quickly, because you can see that Biden is in decline. I don't know how he was able to get through these debates, except maybe he was taking some Alzheimer's medicine, because apparently there's a lot of this particular drug for Alzheimer's being taken by Congress and the Senate, which was revealed a while back, which is interesting. So if people are not outraged about this attack on the First Amendment, then we're in trouble, because the media has latched onto this crazy idea that everything that goes wrong in this country is now because of Russia and Iran. That is a dangerous precedent. We are giving Russia way too much credit. Even during the Senate hearings, Google and Facebook, the CEOs of those two corporations, even said that it was very minimal, the amount of money that they had actually spent for ads. Half of the ads actually ran after the election was over. This scam about Russia is red baiting. It is right from the playbook of McCarthyism. This is crazy. If you stand up against any of this, you're called a Russian sympathizer or a traitor. That's what happened with Tony Bobulinski, is that he was standing up for what's going on, and he said, wait a minute, I have all these documents, I have all this information, I have texts that were sent to me, I have emails that were sent to me proving that it was corruption that was going on, and he was trying to get control of this company so that they would back out of some of this corruption that was going on. And Joe Biden, he said, intervened personally. He said that this is not supposed to be a piggy bank for you guys. This is a corporation. And Joe Biden said, no, let's leave it as a piggy bank so my son can loot the thing. He found out later that there was money that had been coming out of the company, going right into the pocket of Hunter Biden. The $3.5 million, which ended up being almost $4 million, from the wife of the ex-mayor of Moscow. She gave Hunter Biden $3.5 million for what? For what? For crack? It's mind-boggling, and everybody is looking the other way. The news media is corrupt. The news media is owned by the 1% and the military-industrial complex. Look at who they're owned by. And Jeff Bezos now is looking to buy CNN. This is going to be a cabal of disinformation. If you want to see where the disinformation is coming from, it's coming from the United States corporate media. That's where it's coming from. So where's the outrage, everyone? Why aren't we in the streets screaming at the top of our lungs, demanding that Snowden and Julian Assange are released? Julian Assange needs to be released. Snowden actually was stuck in Russia. He did not want to go to Russia. He was trying to go somewhere else. And Joe Biden had his visa pulled, his passport pulled, so he was stuck there. And this was done on purpose to make him look like he was a Russian spy or a Russian plant. And that's where all this came from. Nobody has talked about the illegality of what was going on. No one is going to jail. The NSA has been committing crimes for 2 decades. Nobody has done anything. Clapper is not in jail for lying to Congress. Joe Biden cannot win this election. It's going to send the wrong message to everyone. The Democratic Party is about as corrupt as they've ever been. I have had run-ins with them for a long time. Back in the 80s and the 90s, they were pulling these kind of shenanigans. And we said back then that if this carries on, it's a slippery slope. Well, Alex Jones got banned. Look what's been happening now. More and more people are getting banned, getting blocked. That's very telling. That's very interesting. Because that shows that we have in place in this country a deep state that is more powerful than our politicians. Our politicians are bought and paid for. They are probably compromised. There's a good possibility that this Epstein case is tied in to what's going on with our politicians and why everybody is backing off and doing what they're told. At least they're going after Ghislaine Maxwell and trying to find out what really went on there. But this document that was released from the 3 days of her deposition, there were over 24 names that were redacted of different co-conspirators. They are saying that they can pretty much tell who she was talking about when asked about Bill Clinton and Maxwell. Sorry, and they were talking about Bill Clinton and Prince Andrew and Dershowitz. There are many other names that are being redacted and protected. Why are these people being protected? If you or I had done even 1/100th of what Epstein and Maxwell were doing, we would be in jail for 1,000 years. Guaranteed. So something's going on here. These people are being protected. Who are they being protected by? The CIA, the deep state, the 1%. This country needs to get outraged. What will it take? What will it take? Will it take millions of homeless thrown out of their apartments and their homes? Roaming the streets? Looting and burning? Is that what it's going to take? Or when Biden gets elected and we start bombing the shit out of Iran, and here comes China and Russia to their aid? Is that gonna scare the crap out of you? We are headed for chaos. We are going down the toilet fast. Something better be done. The American population needs to wake up and start demanding of our politicians to be ethical and moral and stand up for principle and stop covering up each other's crap with this Russiagate BS. I'm going to go for now. I'm going to sign off. This is Terry Allen, Radical Progressive. I hope you become as angry as I am. I hope that you will wake up and do something about this. You know, I work all day and then I come home and I make a video. Or I make a video from my car and I rant about the things that piss me off and the stuff that I see that's going on in this country. You can do the same. You can talk to your friends and neighbors. You cannot be afraid. You must not be afraid of what people think about your opinion. Joe Rogan is a very courageous person. He puts on people on his show and he gets lambasted for it. He had Alex Jones on again the other night. I applaud him for that. Alex Jones was taken down from YouTube and Twitter. He still has a website, Infowars.com, and another one, which is probably one of the most popular websites for news in the country right now. I wonder why. Because he is right about a lot of things. He has some crazy conspiracy theories that he has put forward. Something about gay frogs. I need to look into that, see what that was all about. But who knows? Alex, if you watch him, he is running 100 miles an hour. He has got so much information just pouring out of him that he looks deranged. He sounds deranged. But Rogan will put him on because 90% of the stuff he says is true. And that's the reason why they pulled him down. Not because of this Sandy Hook crap, because he had already talked about how that wasn't what he thought it was, and he had put up a disclaimer about that. So we are headed for chaos. We are headed for hell. So good luck, everyone. I'm going to do a couple more videos. But our First Amendment right is under attack, and we better do something now about it before it's too late. Okay, this is Terry Allen, Radical Progressive. It is October 29th, 2020. Have a good evening.